Hari Om. Let me take this opportunity to introduce Tarini ji. Welcome Tarini ji. Brahmacharini Tarini Chaitanya joined Chinmaya Mission as a chick in 2003 and was mentored by Swami Mitrananda during the third Yuvavir batch. She later completed the 2-year Vedanta course at Sandhipani Sadhanalaya. She has served in key roles at Chinmaya Vibhuti Pune, Chinmaya Academy of Management Chennai, CCMT Publication Mumbai and Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapeeth Ernakulam. Currently at Chinmaya International Foundation, she shares her knowledge through Bal Vihar, workshops and discourses. Welcome Tarini ji.
Okay.
Moving on to the first question of today's. What is Shraddha and why is it important in our life?
This is a most important question. Though, one might think that Shraddha is something which, it either naturally comes to us or, in common parlance also, people think that Shraddha is something which is there in people who are more traditional in approach, who would maybe go to temples or who are taking to certain religious practices. There is where this Shraddha is placed. But what exactly is Shraddha? Shraddha is defined as Shraddhadati iti Shraddha. So that which is Shrat over there is signifying the truth. Truth, that Satyam, that reality which is our very own existence. And Dha or Dadati, that Dha over there is signifying that which holds. So that which holds that truth is the Shraddha. That which gives me that conviction to pursue that truth is Shraddha. So, if we have to say, if we have to look at life as a journey, as a pilgrimage, then it is Shraddha which is going to be that fuel which will power me on and keep me on this path towards my destination. Till I reach that destination, not just to begin with, but till my destination, it is Shraddha which is going to take me or keep me going with great momentum.
Is Shraddha blind belief? How can we distinguish Shraddha with blind belief?
Okay, that's also a good question. Because most people think of Shraddha as that Andha Shraddha. When we say Andha Shraddha, what does that mean? Andha or blind, when we say, it means there where there is no clarity. So therefore, when it comes to saying that, someone is following some traditions without knowing why or how it is going to benefit, or whether it actually even has any substance to it as the truth, as a basis. So in that case, yes, that is Andha Shraddha or blind belief. There you will not actually place the word Shraddha, but you will say that which is blind belief. Now belief comes where? Belief comes where you can verify something, right? Like say, suppose you have to say that fire is hot. Okay. To substantiate that fire is hot, all I have to do is go and touch that fire and you will know that that fire is hot, right? Whereas Shraddha is something which is much more deeper, which has greater depth to it, and that comes not just by superficial belief, that vagueness which is there, not just going on that as Shraddha or that as belief, right? But rather having that Vishwasa which comes with it, the trust factor which comes with it. When will that trust factor comes? as Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya himself has spoken of Shraddha in various Prakaran Granthas also, be it Tattva Bodha, be it Viveka Chudamani. So in Tattva Bodha he says that Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Shraddha Vishwasa iti Shraddha. There where you have that conviction in the words of Shastra as spoken by the Guru. So that Guru is also not someone who is just speaking it as his very own opinion, but as that which is substantiated with pramana of Shastra. So that is Shraddha, that trust which we see in the words of the scriptures as substantiated by the Guru, as that Vedanta Pramana, as that Shabda Pramana, that is Shraddha. And here, especially when we are talking of the spiritual path or the path of a seeker, which is going towards that knowledge of the self, or that which is that infinite reality, which is my very own nature, which to begin with I might not have even an inkling about, right? Because when we go towards spirituality also, how do we go towards spirituality? We say that, okay, I need an alternative solution for my problems. I have so many ups and downs. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes there is so much of sadness in my life. I can't see that permanent happiness coming about in my life. I need something, which is unchanging, which is constant in this world of changes to hold on to, and therefore I go towards spirituality. And then to what are we looking at? We are looking at something instant, something that will give me a quick fix for my problems. And yet when we go for those quick fixes, we realize that those quick fixes are just that, that which I fixed temporarily will also break after some time. But Vedanta doesn't do that. Vedanta says that there is no quick fix. You have to go to the root of the problem, and in that root alone lies that permanent solution, that which is unshakable. And to reach for that pilgrim or for that seeker to reach such a destination which is unshakable, one also has to have that unshakable faith in that truth, right? And therefore it is not going to be that blind faith which is going to take me towards it. It is going to be that belief in the truth to begin with. So how do I gain that belief in the truth? So that belief in that truth is not just a belief, which I can otherwise verify. Like we said, in our normal day-to-day lives, we have belief in various things. But this is not just that blind belief, or this is not that vague belief, but that belief, or rather that faith in something which exists and I am sure of its existence. I don't know what it is to begin with, but I know it is real, and therefore I am willing to walk that path to achieve it. As Gurudev says, faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward is to see what you believed in. So, to begin with, this path might not be very clear, but I walk the path which has been walked by the thousands of Mahatmas to begin with. They have walked it, they have verified it, and they have lived on to talk about that truth in various ways. And yes, that is how we can too have that Shraddha and hold on to that Shraddha, grow on that Shraddha with the knowledge that we gain from from the words of the scriptures, from the words that are spoken of, that are lived by the Mahatmas, the Gurus, and holding on to those, verifying them through the logic given by Shastra itself, one can further strengthen that Shraddha to reach that goal. As again Gurudev has said, as we walk the path alone, will we be able to see the clarity on that path. But to see clarity on that path, one has to have Shraddha to begin with.
Tarini ji, why is Shraddha so critical?
You mean to say on this path of the journey to the unknown, why is this Shraddha
Yes.
important?
Yes.
Right? So, one is that if I say, suppose you have to go to a particular place, you will still want to know, right, whether that place exists, whether, the person that I am supposed to meet at that place, will that person be there or no? You will verify whatever you are, pursuing. So too on this path of spirituality, where the basis of the knowledge is itself something one must have faith in to begin with, Shraddha is most important as a factor. In fact, if you look at the seeker itself, Shastra says that there are these 4 factors, which speak of the eligibility or adhikaritva of a student. And what is that? So they say that sadhana chatushtaya has these 4 factors of viveka, vairagya, shamadhi shatka sampattihi and mumukshutva. So one is that to begin with, I should have that burning desire to know that knowledge, and that is going to fuel my viveka and vairagya, that my ability to distinguish between right and wrong, between that which is permanent and that which is impermanent. And further, that that viveka, of course, will give rise to my vairagya also, the ability to detach from the world and focus in one direction, in the direction of that truth that I am pursuing. But in the 4, there is the 3rd factor, which has the 6-fold wealth, and it is spoken of as wealth. So this wealth is more that of virtues that I have to internalize, and in that is the Shraddha. So what are they? There is Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana. Now you might say, among these 6, you might say, isn't Titiksha most important? Because there are these pairs of opposites that we face in and through every day, every single moment of our life. We have these ups and downs going on, and there is where my critical decision making also comes in. So how much then is Shraddha coming in? Why is Shraddha so important? So there we will know that this Shraddha is something which will fuel my journey. So when we have spoken about it before also. So to begin with any of these, even inculcating or cultivating these virtues, for that too, I should have that conviction in that goal that I want to attain, or that destination which I am looking forward towards. Unless I have that faith in it, how am I actually going to walk that distance towards it? So, as we said, in Tattvabodh itself, he says, Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha. So, yes, that Guru has spoken of it. There is the Shastra which is the Pramana. But why should I take Shastra alone as Pramana? I have my 5 senses, which are the Pratyaksha. And as per my, pratyaksha pramana, as per the, the ability of my senses, the faculties which I trust on for any other works in this world, this goal of Brahman, or that creator which is Nirguna Nirakara, it seems to be very intangible. And Shastra itself says, it is there where the word even can't reach. Then how should I base my whole inquiry into this truth based on that Shastra, based on this Shabda Pramana? So there is where the role of Shraddha comes in. So unless I am able to base my inquiry on this Shraddha in Shastra, one, in that truth which is pointed out by Shastra, which we might call as that which is Brahman, that infinite reality, or we might call as that Satchidananda, or we might call as Bhagwan, Ishvara. That faith that Bhagwan exists, or the faith that without this Bhagwan, none of this world is going to go about, that is most crucial, right? So, when a person came and he said, there was this young person and he went to a teacher, guru, and he says, oh, I hear, you talk about Shastra and all that, but, I'm an atheist. Okay, so the guru said, very good, fine. So, it seems like you have done a great lot of inquiry and, research, and you have verified so many factors which otherwise are substantiating the very existence of that truth, that reality, and not just that truth which is your truth itself. So if that truth didn't exist, how would you exist? So that of course was a sarcastic comment made by that Mahatma, but it went on, it goes on to actually say that how most times we are very skeptical about the Shraddha, or even skeptical, keep aside even Shraddha, but the very existence of that reality itself is something that we are most skeptical about. And therefore we say that okay, there was, everything is based in matter, and there are so many theories, there is the Big Bang theory and all that, science is what will substantiate everything. But even for science, I need to, if I have to say that yes, atoms exist and the scientists are right for it, right? But to begin with, can I see those atoms? I cannot. Right? So I have to start with a belief in something, and then I add in the value of the knowledge which gives me much more proof of the reality of those atoms. Then only that belief will transform into faith, right? Or that conviction. So this faith or this Shraddha is nothing but conviction in the reality or existence of that truth. So, this skepticism which is there, it is not something new. It existed from time immemorial, and even when it came to Gurudev or Swami Vivekananda, or even if we had to say that Taponji Maharaj, or even before that Adi Shankaracharya ji himself, or Bhagwan Krishna himself, so many doubts were placed by Arjuna to the Lord, and he went on to give the right answers for those. And only when the seeker in Arjuna was happy with the answers, or was kind of satiated and said, okay, fine, I understood, now I don't have any doubts, Only when he was fully doubt free did Bhagwan say, okay, now I rest my case. Now you can make your decisions based on the knowledge that you have got. Right? But the journey always began with the Shraddha only. Right? So when we say this also, there is the Chandogya Upanishad. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is the incident where Shvetaketu and Uddalaka Rishi were having this dialogue, and Shvetaketu was asking, how is it that you can say that this whole creation has come from that unmanifest Brahma? How can you even say that? If that reality is not seen by my senses, or I can't even see that see how that Nirguna Nirakara can become manifest in so many ways in these different Nama Rupas. How is it that we can prove that? So then his teacher, his father, Uddalaka Rishi, he was very, very much practical, and he said, okay, do one thing. Do you see that banyan tree? He says, yes. Fine. Bring the fruit of that banyan tree. So he brings that fruit and he says, okay, break it. So he said, okay, fine. He tries and breaks it. It's a small fruit, and then in that there are several seeds in it, and those seeds are very tiny. And his teacher says, okay, break that also. He says that it's little bit impossible to break that. Na? But then he says, no, you break it. Try to break it. Then he says, okay, in this seed, are you able to see that banyan tree? Then, again Shvetaketu gets little grumpy, and he says, why are you making me do these kind of experiments? I definitely can't see this whole banyan tree in that tiny seed. So, then his father says, okay, you're not able to see this banyan tree in that seed, but definitely you can base your trust that it is from this seed alone that this banyan tree is going to arise, right? Then why is it so impossible for you to believe that it is from this unmanifest truth, that infinite Brahman, that Satchidananda, which is existent, as in it is Asti. And if you are able to prove that it exists, then only you can prove the existence of this entire reality. So he tells his student that, okay, right now you are not able to believe that from that alone came this entire world of plurality, but have your Shraddha. Have Shraddhatsva. He tells Soumya Shraddhatsva. Have your Shraddha and start walking, and you will see that one day, as you start walking, as you gain much more clarity through questioning, through logic, you will be able to see that Asti become Asmi. So that is the journey for a seeker actually, where I have to start from the Shraddha of that reality being existent, have faith in that reality, and move from that reality to being me itself, to that Brahma Asmi, Aham Brahma Asmi. That is the journey that one has to make. So therefore Shraddha is very crucial.
Tariniji, where can we practically implement Shraddha in our life? Because we can keep Shraddha in a negative thing. How do we know that Shraddha, on which we should keep Shraddha and what we should keep Shraddha?
Okay. So this too has been very clearly stated by Shastra. So too it has been stated by the Mahatmas, the Gurus who have walked this path and have even given us pointers as to how to place our Shraddha. So one is to begin with Shraddha in that Bhagwan, the one reality which makes this entire world function, right? And the very fact that everything functions so beautifully, except for, of course, the human intervention that causes many imperfections, right? But if we see, there is a kind of law of governance that makes this entire world function in a most perfect way, and everything is in its place in its own way, right? So Shraddha in Bhagwan, in God, that reality that is spoken of by Shastra. So that Shastra also is somewhere where I should place my Shraddha. Shastra as in Vedanta. So that Vedanta, which is telling me that this manifest world that of names and forms that I see is actually illusory. It is that which is ever changing. And right now I have based my truth on this changing reality. So how far will I go with it? Will I gain the unchanging Nitya Sukham through it? That is not going to be possible. And therefore, what is the Shastra telling us? It is Brahma which is Satyam and Jagat Mithya. Though it is difficult to believe, but this truth which is being told to me, this alone is going to give me that Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti and Paramananda Prapti, which is the whole goal of my existence, right? As this body, to reach that truth which is ever eternal, ever unchanging. So what is going to reach me to it? It is that Shraddha in the Shastra, in the Vedanta, which is going to reach me to that truth. So I should definitely have Shraddha in that. Then further, I should have Shraddha in the Guru. Guru is the one who's not just calling himself Guru. Okay, so someone says that they are called as the Mahaguru or Jagat Guru just because their name is Jagat Guru. But no, the Guru that we are talking of here is one who is Shrotriya Brahmanishtha, one whose entire knowledge is based on Shastra, is based on that Shastra Praman, and this person, this Mahatma, is someone who has not just read the scriptures, as in they are not having just academic knowledge or scholarly knowledge, but it is the knowledge which they have gained through their intellection, not just intellection but logically verifying that knowledge based on the truths laid out by the Guru Parampara. That Guru Parampara which never compromised on this knowledge, that Guru Parampara which has followed this knowledge as told in the scriptures, never challenged it, but substantiated it with further study, with further examples which are relevant to the times. And be it Shruti, the revelations made to the rishis, or be it Smriti, that knowledge which was further given in instructional form as dialogue between Bhagwan Krishna and Arjuna in the Kurukshetra. In 702 verses, Bhagwan talks of that same truth in 18 chapters, so that Arjuna, or rather the Arjuna in each one of us, is able to follow it, is able to verify that truth and live it here and now in this world. So be it Shrutis, be it Smritis, be it Puranas. So we might not be able to follow one. Therefore, it has been further clarified in other ways. So yes. So the Guru who is able to tell us of this truth, not just through his knowledge of the scriptures, but one who has lived that truth himself. Shrotriya Brahmanishtha, one who is well read in the scriptures and is able to express that truth or explain it to us in the right way with which we can understand, or in the method that is best suited for us in our day-to-day lives. Right? So that Guru who is able to walk that path, who is able to live that truth for us, and therefore is able to hand it over to us. Not that he is just going to, look into our eyes and give it, yes, there, you have got the truth. Like someone might just bring up some ash and, as some siddhi, they might give it. Or someone might say that, I will just touch your head and that's it, you will gain it. No. Like Gurudev says, I am not a mule guru. You have to walk that path yourself. So the Guru will give us that knowledge in the best way possible. Through that Shravana of that knowledge, may it be in various ways. It may be in many times also. Sometimes it is told, being in the vicinity of the Guru itself, one can gain that knowledge in the best way possible. So that doesn't mean that, I just hang around the Guru and that's it, I have gained the knowledge. No, it is much more than just that. It is Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. So when we say Shravana, it is listening to the truth through various ways, as in, we could be listening to satsangs, we could be doing study, we could be listening to videos nowadays, we have various mediums now to accessing that truth. But is that sufficient? No. Further, one needs to gain clarity through churning on that knowledge through manana. And that manana too will happen when I have Shraddha again. When I have the Shraddha that Brahma Asti, that the truth exists and that I can reach it, that is most important. Right? So that manana too requires that Shraddha in that knowledge. Knowledge of the Shastra as given through the Guru. So Shravana, Manana, and only when my Manana is done fully, when all the doubts are clarified, only then can I go towards Nididhyasana, which is internalizing that knowledge through nullification or removal of all erroneous knowledge, erroneous notions, which is all the Viparita Bhavanas one might have. Okay. Then further, so we said that Shraddha in Bhagwan, Shraddha in Shastra, Shraddha in Guru, and then further what? Shraddha in myself. That I can make it, that I can walk this path and I can be persistent till I reach this goal which I have set out for myself. That which the Guru has given me guidance on, I can walk that path. That Shraddha in myself is as important as any of the earlier three. And this says, this is not just for the spiritual path, but any journey that one might want to achieve in this life. Be it even achievements in the material world, be it in the Vyavaharik Satta, whatever goals that one has to reach, one can't do it without having faith in oneself. That conviction that I can make it. On my own strength, I can walk this path and I can reach the final destination. So, Shraddha in oneself. And of course, Shraddha, the fifth one might add, is the Shraddha in the sadhana that one has taken up. Not only that, there is the Shastra, not only there is the goal of the Shastra, but also that the path which has been given to me or guided by my mentor, by my guru, that path or that means or that sadhana, I should have faith in that. Otherwise, what happens? People keep flitting, na? They will say that, okay, today I will go for, I heard about this guru who talks about Kriya. So today I will go for that satsang. Next day, what should I do? They say that there is Ashtanga Yoga. So I will go for Ashtanga Yoga. Next day, what will I do? Okay, Bhakti seems to be an easier way of doing things. So I will go for that. Jnana seems to be very slow. Does it really reach anywhere? Right. So unless I have conviction, that faith in the sadhana itself, I will not be able to transform myself from sadhaka to sadhya. Sadhaka, that which is me, that who is me. I have to become that sadhya, the one who is the final destination. Right? So as we said, what is the journey? From asti to asmi. And this can be bridged only with Shraddha. And Shraddha should never go down. The momentum with which I began, it has to only multiply as I keep moving ahead. So this is how it is told that I place my Shraddha in these 5. Shraddha in Bhagwan, Shraddha in Shastra, that is Vedanta, Shraddha in Guru, Shraddha in myself, and Shraddha in the sadhana. Yes.
I think it's already we crossed. We can have question and answer session now. Do I have to believe in God to have Shraddha?
Yes, that's a good question. And if we have to say that, do I have to believe in God to begin with? Yeah. If I want to place a firm footing on this path, then definitely I should have Shraddha in Bhagwan in whatever form I might believe in. As it is said, even in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Yo yat Shraddha sa eva saha. As one's faith, so alone, so that person also will be. So, and if we look in the world also, people have various different ways of going towards faith. Some might believe in idol worship. Some might believe in the creator as some energy. Some might believe in Bhagwan as that, they say that no, I just do good and be good, that's it. So fine, but when it comes to it, when I want to live this life which is full of turbulence, which will have its ups and downs, and if I want to base my efforts in something, then yes, it definitely is a great support to anchor myself in the existence of that principle which one might call as God, as Parameshwara, or that which is upholding this entire universe together. So yes, Shraddha in Bhagwan is important. So someone has asked, how do I regain lost faith? How do I regain? By putting in effort. By also saying, so if we say that it is something that I lost, then maybe I didn't have conviction in it. Maybe there was not much of clarity in it for me to have that conviction to begin with, and therefore I lost it. So where I place, as we said before, where I place my Shraddha also matters. And if it is something that can just get lost like that, like sometimes, like we said, the 5th factor of Shraddha is having Shraddha in the means, the sadhana that I have taken up. Now there is also times when we say that, okay, I took this mantra diksha and now I'm not able to follow it. Because why? Because I'm not able to connect myself with that particular Bhagwan which is connected by that mantra. So what should I do? Then realign. Just as one has to put in effort for any other practice, when if I have gone, see, because of some kind of lag in my daily routine of exercise, what will happen? My muscles will go lax. I might have been doing weight training, I might have been doing a lot of athletic, but then sometimes if I have taken a break, then what happens? I have to put in much more effort, maybe twice the effort, maybe thrice the effort than what I was doing earlier in my routine. So to here also the same will come about. To realign myself, I have to put in effort. So abhyasa, that is effort, repetition, practice is must in Shraddha also. Also most important is where I place that Shraddha. Can I have Shraddha in several deities? Is that possible? So if I place, Shraddha in several deities, what is going to happen? Then it is going to be scattered, my Shraddha. Then I am not going to be, be able to be centered in one direction, right? So when we talk about spirituality, or when we talk about that adhyatmika prapti, right, then it is most important that we have that chitta ekagrata, that we have that single pointed focus, and only when my destination is one and not scattered in many directions will I be able to put my energies in one direction, right? And so it is with Shraddha also. If I say, even Bhagwan himself tells in Bhagavad Gita that, if, as he says, yoyat Shraddha sa eva sa. If I am going to say that I want, oh Bhagwan, bless me today with good health. Bless me tomorrow with good, good wealth. Next, what should you do? Bhagwan, I want a good house, I want a good status, I want to be able to attain fame, name, fine. Then further I said, oh, my family is having problems, health and everything. Can you make sure that all those are in proper? So in all this turmoil of the worldly problems, what do? I put my Shraddha in various others and forget that Paramatma is one only. Then what is going to happen? Then Bhagwan will still say, okay, fine, here, take. What is he doing? Then, when I place my Shraddha in several, then what is going to happen? My energies are also going to be divided. Then I am not going to go towards that one goal. I will keep struggling with many of my paristhithis. My energies will be totally lost in coming to terms with my paristhithis, in the circumstances that I face, and I will forget about that one reality that I should be pursuing. So I will keep postponing my goal, that's all, right? Like when we are going on a journey on a highway and then we say, okay, oh, here comes this food mall, so let's take a detour. Next, what comes? Oh, there comes the waterfall, let's take photos there. So the journey is going to keep on being delayed with all these detours that I make. So it is with Shraddha also. It is difficult to hold on to Shraddha, especially when I face trouble. What do I do? Actually speaking, it is my anchorage in the Shraddha which is actually going to see me through all kinds of challenges that I face, right? So if we look into our Puranas also, there are very many stories given of so many devotees who have gone through various ups and downs. if you take the Shraddha of Prahlad, it was so unflinching, you know. Not one moment he felt that he should give up on the name of Narayana, no matter how many times his father warned him about it. Even when he was placed in the fire, sitting on the lap of his aunt Holika, he kept chanting Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana. He never gave up on it. So, such is the strength of this Shraddha. Such is the strength of this devotion that one can't but not anchor in it. So if I'm not able to hold on to that Shraddha, then what should I do? Then I should persistently go for it even more strongly. Because whom am I trying to convince? I'm not trying to convince someone outside of me. It is my own mind which is playing games with me. In fact, that Shraddha is such that it will fuel my spiritual journey even much more strongly than anything else. Right? So you will say, okay, Prahlada was someone from the Puranas. Then you take someone like Mirabai. She was so much, devoted to her Giridhar Gopal that even when her brother-in-law gave her poison, she was able to digest it. Right? Her Shraddha was ever there in Bhagwan. So she said, if it has come from Bhagwan to me, it is never going to be for my harm. So Bhagwan also blesses us in that way only. Sometimes he says, right, you have asked for it, here it is, take it. Sometimes he says, no, now is not the right time. So he says a clear no to us. And sometimes he says, you will get it, but not now, sometime later. Right? So the acceptance of what Bhagwan is giving us, that very ability or that very bhava in our devotion to say that whatever has come to us is but a prasada from Bhagwan, that alone will be the litmus test of this Shraddha. So, no matter what is coming to me, if I am able to not just keep aside my expectations, but also accept what has come without questioning the capability or the partiality of Bhagwan. No, Bhagwan is never partial. He is giving me that which I deserve. That which has to come to me will alone come to me. So that acceptance, that surrender is the gift of Shraddha.
We can conclude with Shanti Mantra.
Okay.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll end the session with Shanti Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Hari Om. Thank you very much. Hari Om.